Hello everyone, this is Marshall Official. Welcome back to another video on the Russo-Ukrainian war. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates. Let's get right on into it right now. Starting of course with the off-the-battlefield stuff. Putin visited Kursk as Ukrainian troops struggled to cling on to territory. So yes, Putin went to the Kursk region. He visited the command post in Kursk. On Wednesday, his forces were on the brink of ending Ukraine's partial occupation of the Russian region. Wearing olive green military fatigues, the Russian president was told by Valery Gerasimov, his chief of general staff, that Kyiv had failed in its plan to hold the territory as a bargaining chip in any peace talks. Very true. They still hold some territory, but not nearly enough. I am counting on the fact that all the combat tasks facing our units will be filled. The territory of the Kursk region will soon be completely liberated from the enemy. That's Putin's words right there. That's a quote. The front line came as Moscow appeared to retake the town of Sudzha. Frontline visit came as Moscow appeared to retake the town of Sudzha. We'll get into that. Which has served as the main base for 10,000 strong Ukrainian forces holding the bridgehead in Russian territory. The big deal, I should say that a big thing about this is that somewhere on here in this right here, Putin said the captured fighters should be treated as terrorists in accordance with the laws of the Russian Federation. The reason for this is that they're accusing the Ukrainians of causing great crimes against humanity in the occupied territory. So they will be and they said that a lot of those guys will be tried under Russian law and possibly given decades in prison for committing crimes against humanity. That's why, true or not, I'm sure there's some truth to it. It's probably being exaggerated. But that's so they're going to trial the captured soldiers as terrorists. It says that 430 Ukrainian soldiers were captured, according to them. So moving on to the next thing. Ukraine said they will fight in Kursk for as long as possible. This is definitely a mistake. They claim that Russia has lost 55,000 troops in Kursk, including 22,000 killed in action. Yeah, no, bullcrap, not true at all. That is ridiculous numbers. I don't think Russia had more than 30,000 troops up there. Ukraine at its highest had 36,000 troops in Kursk, so that doesn't even make sense. So no, that's obviously not true. And basically they're just saying that they're going to continue to hold on to the territory until the very end. I explained in my last video why that is a terrible idea. I'll quickly go over it again. Basically because, if the Russians take this territory and the Ukrainian army is destroyed fighting to the last man for this territory, and the Russian army is not going to stop. They're going to keep on going towards Sumy. They're going to push as long as they can until they can't anymore. And so if the Ukrainian army is totally destroyed and they still have a huge force up here, they're going to keep on going. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep on pushing until they get to here. But anyways, moving on. So this is a good question. What happens if Russia says no? I should mention Russia has yet to give a good answer. Will they agree to the ceasefire or not? And I will explain. It's actually a very, very smart decision by Zelensky. It was a very smart decision by Zelensky to say this. And you might think, is that a smart move? Is that a bad move? Is that a dumb move? It was a smart move. Because you want to know why it definitely surprised Russia, because Russia hasn't responded yet. Russia has not responded to this, so that they were not expecting Zelensky, who just days before was all about, I am not giving in, I'm not going to do anything, we're going to keep on fighting. And now suddenly here he's saying, I want a ceasefire. Sure, you want a ceasefire, United States? If Trump, you want to end this war? Let's have a 30-day ceasefire. Let's see if we can talk this out and make peace. Let's have a 30-day ceasefire. Russia obviously didn't see it coming. So this is a smart tactic by Zelensky to try and get back on the U.S.'s good side. Zelensky knows that Trump wants peace regardless of whose terms it's in. He doesn't care if it's in Ukraine's or if it's on Ukraine or Russia's terms. So he just wants to make peace. So partially because it'll make him look good. But so Zelensky's saying this is basically saying, hey, Trump, I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's have a peace. Let's have a ceasefire. Not a peace deal. Let's have a ceasefire right now. Russia, you want to do it? Russia hasn't responded yet. So that it was a smart move by Zelensky to do that. And now Russia, they say the ball is in Russia's court. But Russia obviously does not know how to respond to that. Otherwise, they would have responded yet. But they have not yet responded. So this is a smart move by Zelensky. And if Russia says no, as this thing says here, the Russian president now faces the dilemma. Mark Rubio said, if Russia does not agree to a deal, we will know who is the impediment to peace. The Trump administration, unlikely as it appears now, could become vengeful towards this, and they could begin helping Ukraine. They did just say today that they will possibly lift the ban on ammunition sending to Ukraine as long as it's used for defensive purposes. So very small, but it's something. It shows that they are at least willing to they're at least willing to maybe give something to Ukraine. Small, but it's not what it was before, which was nothing. Senator Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, to push bone-breaking sanctions and tariffs to push Russia into peace. He said today that if Russia does not agree to the ceasefire, and yes, it's right here, weighing Putin's response to the ceasefire proposal. If Putin does not agree to the ceasefire, they should put much heavier sanctions on Russia. So overall, the whole ceasefire gambit by Zelensky is a smart move. It is a smart move because if Russia does agree to it, they'll have to stop their offensive up here in Kursk and elsewhere, and the Ukrainians will have some time to possibly regroup. So will Russia, but Ukraine will have time to regroup, especially since it will give the Ukrainians time to regroup from this massive disaster up here. And it forces Russia into a position that they were not expecting themselves to be in, which is that we have to now respond to Zelensky's statement saying we want a ceasefire right now. Let's do this. Let's have a ceasefire right now. Russia, you in? Russia hasn't said anything, so big deal. And Peskov said that Russia does not want to rush a ceasefire, which is his way of saying we don't know how to respond to this yet. So overall, very smart move by Zelensky on that part. But let's go into the battlefield now. Oh, and a side note here, another little article. Volkswagen is ready to enter military production, exploring defense equipment and supplies. So Volkswagen might start producing weapons and stuff for the military. So little news right there. Let's go into the battlefield. So starting up here in the Kursk region, Russian forces have made not as big of a gain as they have previously, but they have now secured the last part of Sudzha. Sudzha is now under Russian control. We have this picture that shows, and it's a video, there's a video too, that shows Russian forces raising their flag in the city center. All of Sudzha is now under Russian control. This territory up here into the west, this is two different towns. This is Konchanovka, and this is Zolanshenski. So the Sudzha ends right here, where the Russian forces have captured this territory. They also have captured this. I forgot to put a marker right there, but this is a small, little tiny town right here. Russian forces have captured that, and so the Russian forces have now secured all of Sudzha. Sudzha is now under Russian control entirely. Moving on to the next part of the front line. Over here, we see the Russian forces have made another big gain and captured the town of Zarizove. They have restarted the offensive along the Oskil front. Russian forces here further to the south have made significant gains. No towns captured, but they have captured several tree lines and forested areas. Both up here in the Luhansk region, they have secured the border between Donetsk and Luhansk right here, and pushed as far as nearly pushing Ukrainians out of the Luhansk Oblast in this small part of the front. And they have pushed up to the border between Donetsk and Luhansk right here. They have captured a big tree line right here, and the Russian forces further to the south have also managed to capture and have restarted their offensive north of Veliki Novoselka, and they've captured Dnipropetrovsk-Nuria, and they've also captured two tree lines right here. This is north of Veliki Novoselka. Russian forces have restarted their advance on this part of the front line. There are no other changes from across the front line. The Polish World Front has been nothing is happening on this part of the front line. There were some pushes by the Ukrainians down here in this area, still waiting to see if there's any changes. Perhaps there are, we don't know quite yet, but this Polk front has been quiet. No Ukrainian further gains here. The Terez front, again, same thing, we have no Ukrainian gains here. My theory for this is because the Ukrainian forces were forced to divert troops away from here up to Kursk. Hasn't changed anything, unfortunately, for them, as you can see. But that's good news for Russia. Russian forces have been able to hold the line here in Terez, and I'm guessing by now their reinforcements have now arrived and have now secured the front line in this area. I assume at some point we're going to start seeing Russian forces being counterattacked to push the Ukrainians out once again. And the Chasiv Yar front, again, no changes here. The only thing we really saw was there was apparently an increase in drone activity on this part of the front line. Russian forces struck some targets down here near the town of Predshina. But other than that, that's going to be it. There are no other changes across the front line. That's going to be it for this entire update. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.